in my experience. I'm going to read verse 1 through verse 5. Most people pick up Proverbs 31 at verse 6. I want to read the first 5 verses. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him, which is critical to what we want to go today. What, my son? Remember, this is a son talking about what his mother taught him. What his mother taught him. What, my son, what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princesses strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. Dear Lord Jesus, we come to you right now. We thank you for this opportunity, this time together. I pray that you'll touch each and every one of us in this place today, that we'll all open our ears and our hearts and our minds to hear what you have to say. God, I pray that you will move in every life, that we go forth in your will and your purpose. I love you right now. In the mighty name of Jesus, you may be seated. I do have a couple of things that I want to read about mothers. But before I read them, and Lemuel, the king, had a mom that cared. Had a mom that loved him, and mom who took time to point out some things that can destroy your life. In these 5 verses here, she pointed out just a couple of things that are critical. From a woman's perspective, a mother's perspective, she told her son, don't give thy strength to women. She was warning him about women. Today's Mother's Day, and I'm not bashing women, okay? Not knocking the women. But I bet if I asked you a name, you could probably put a name to a woman that his mother was telling him, stay away from that one. Stay away from that one. She was warning him about the danger of women and putting all your focus and all your attention on women. All your effort. I gotta find a woman. I gotta find a wife. I gotta find the prettiest. And a king, you know, a king would probably want the prettiest girl in the kingdom, with the expectation that she was going to be beautiful beside me, and that's the role she's going to play. But amongst this, his mother realized you can find the most beautiful woman out there, but she's going to bring a reproach upon you and the kingdom. She'll bring a reproach upon your home. She recognized this. She warned him about the wayward woman. She looked at him and said, son, don't give yourself the strength, what you've been taught, how you've been raised, how you know to live your life. Don't surrender those things to a woman. and allow her to have enough control over you that she takes everything away from you and pulls everything away from you so that you are no longer what you are intended to be. And then she mentions the ways that which destroyeth kings. You look at kings and some kings that have been destroyed because of power. A hunger for power and greed, selfishness and being self-centered and having everything you want, like you want it, the way you want it, and not what's best for the kingdom. She warned him, there's some things that destroy kings, because she was a mother that cared how he led, the example he set for others to follow. You see, and then it's not for kings to drink wine, nor their princes strong drink. She's warning him about the dangers of alcohol and the dangers of where it can take you and lead you, and the addictive power and control it can have on your life, and how it can destroy you and take you down. You're talking about a concerned mother that loves her child. You see, she warned him that if you get lost in that world of strong drink and partying and the wine, the women, and the song, as they say, and you get hung up in those areas of life, and even though you're the king and you can, doesn't mean you need to, doesn't mean you should, because it's ultimately going to cause you to forget the law and pervert the judgment of the afflicted. In other words, the people that you are king over, the people in your home, the people that you are supposed to be there to help, direct, lead, and guide, and show the way. Now, I set some foundation. I set some stuff. We're going to move forward today with what I have to bring to you mothers. First of all, there's a bag, a goodie bag up here for all the moms. Make sure to clarify moms, just because I want to make sure every mother gets one. And so that'll be for every mother that is here first before we go and give to anyone else that's not here potentially. We'll make sure all moms get a gift. Also, Brother David, we must have all been on the same page. God was covering the bases. Brother David and Sister Geraldine gave a rose to all the mothers today. But as you grab a gift bag, be sure and grab a rose and take with you. Because you're more than deserving of the gifts. This is also an area for you to sit, have your picture taken. And Alana, you can just get up here and take your picture and give it to Mom and say, here's the best gift I can give you. You see, Mom would appreciate that, though, because mothers appreciate those things. Something special, something that means something. But when you look at that scripture we just read today, a mother that was teaching her son, talking to her son, trying to lead and guide her son. I found this job description for mothers, and it's lengthy, and it still don't cover everything. Number one, it's a permanent job. It's a permanent job. The successful applicant must be prepared to work hard. Ain't got no use for a lazy mother. They have not much value. The workplace is often a challenging and chaotic environment. You ever felt like that at home? It's challenging, it's chaotic. Applicants must possess excellent communication and organizational skills and be willing to work variable hours, which will include evenings, weekends, and frequent 24-hour shifts on call. I know you've been there. Extensive chauffeuring duties also required, but your travel expenses will not usually be reimbursed. Some overnight travel will be required, including trips to camping sites on rainy weekends, countless sports tournaments, and faraway places. You must be willing to be hated. How many times have you felt that way? Kids make you feel like they hate you. At least temporarily, until somebody needs you. When they need you, they always come calling. Must be willing to bite the tongue repeatedly. That one hurts. Sometimes even as a mother or a father, it's best to bite the tongue. Must possess the physical stamina of a pack mule, be able to go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat, in case this time the screams from the backyard are genuine and not just someone crying wolf or playing. How many times have you ran the scream of your child? Must be willing to face stimulating and technical challenges, such as a small gadget repair, mysteriously fix the toilet that stopped up, have no idea why. It just won't flush. It's overflowing. How about a stuck zipper? You ever had to fix a stuck zipper before? You got to screen phone calls and maintain calendars and coordinate production of multiple homework projects, and must have the ability to plan and organize social gatherings for clients of all ages and mental outlooks. Must be willing to be indispensable 1 minute and an embarrassment the next. Health and safety. You must be able to handle the assembly and production of safety testing of hundreds of toys and battery-operated devices. Your attitude and demeanor. You must always hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. You must assume final, complete accountability for the quality of the product at the end. Responsibilities also include floor maintenance, laundry, janitorial work throughout the place of employment. Promotion prospects, none. You already reached the top. Your job is to remain in the same position for years without complaining, constantly retraining and updating your skills so that those in your charge can ultimately surpass you. Your previous experience is none required because no other form of employment is totally relevant, but on-the-job in-service training is offered at a continually exhausting basis. Wages and bonuses, none. Job satisfaction is what you hopefully to receive. And then you have the outlays. You pay every bill for your child at least until they're 18 because of the assumption that college will help them become financially independent. And then when you die, you give them everything that's left. You see, the strangest thing about this reverse salary scheme is that you should enjoy it and wish you could only do more. Now, the benefits, while no health or dental insurance, no pension, no tuition reimbursement, no paid holidays, no bonuses are offered, this job supplies limited opportunities for free hugs for life if you play your cards right. Who doesn't enjoy a hug? And then the tenure of this employment status is for the rest of your life. You see, there's some fun things about that. You can read and listen to it, and you can relate. How many of you can relate to those things today as a mom? You've been through that. The all-night puking. The all-night crying. The all-day, no-break colic that you have to deal with. Putting them in the car seat and driving around the neighborhood. or on top of the dryer in the car seat, whatever you got. You're desperate, and you just deal with it. And if you look back and wonder, how did I make it? I'm going to tell you how you made it. But by the grace of God. The grace of God. Here's a story that is illustrating the importance of mothers. A girl came home from playing with a friend. She was a little bit later than expected, so her mother immediately said, "Mary, why are you late?" And she said, "I was walking home with Julie, and when Julie dropped her doll, and it broke." And her mom said, "Okay, I see. So you stopped to help Julie fix her doll?" And she said, "No." She said, "We couldn't fix the doll, so I stayed and helped Julie to cry." You see, that's called compassion, and Mary probably got that from her mother. I can say that with a certainty because most dads would probably say, "Well, it's broke, go throw it in the trash. Get over it. We'll clean up the mess and get rid of it." But here's another story I want to read to you today. Members of a Highland tribe came down and attacked a village of lowland people. The Highlanders smashed up the village and left, taking the plunder, including a baby. The men of the village were not very fit, and they were afraid to go up the mountain to go after the baby. The mother begged and begged for help, and nobody was willing to go with her to get her baby or to go rescue the child. So the mother set off up the mountain herself, and she disappeared up the mountain, and everybody watched her leave, and she was gone for 2 days and 2 nights. But when she came back, she was carrying her baby with her. The men said, "How could you, a mere woman, climb all the way up there and face those tribesmen that wanted to kill you? They come to plunder and take." And her reply was this: "It was my baby." That's all she said. What she did for her child, most women would do for their child. And that is exactly what Jesus did for us. He went to the extreme to save us. He went to the extreme to rescue us. You see, no matter how much someone loves their mother or how much their mother loves them, the time must come for them to get married and move out of the house. You see, a child that you raise and you protect and you try to teach and you try to surround them with everything they need to be successful, and you try to show them how to get by in life. And there comes a day and time where they're going to walk out the door, and you're going to hope and pray that you did a good job and they listened to your advice. They listened to the example that you set before them in word and in deed. You pray that you've done a good job, Mom. But reality sets in more often than not to find out, despite your best efforts, things didn't quite go as planned. But you see, regardless, you did the best you could. We were speaking this weekend and talking amongst the men, and we were talking about mothers and talking about families, and men were sitting around sharing testimonies of their childhood, and they were just talking about horror stories here and there and whatever and different things. And I interjected and I told them, I said, "You know, there's one thing I understand about my parents." I said they did the best they could with the knowledge they had. I said, because we have been listening to sermons and teachings on these few days, last couple of days, and you find the patterns that are set in childhood so often transferred to adulthood, and the same things that the parents do the same things you do in your home, and you find a lot of similarities and things kind of blur, and you have a lot of things in common with your dad or with your mom. You also have mama's boys and daddy's girls, and I'm blessed to have one of each. I wouldn't change it for a minute. But when you look at these things in life and you look at the responsibility that falls upon mothers, I can tell you, dads, it's a whole different level. It may be up and it may be down. I don't know. I didn't prioritize which is most important because I believe every parent is important to their child. Mothers, though, have a way of the compassion, the tender, the loving. They learn that from moms most often. Moms can sometimes be a lot quicker to forgive. They can be a lot quicker to maybe overlook a couple of things where us dads are a little more black and white and it's just how it is. Not every home has that dynamic. But you see, it's a mother that has the responsibility of carrying the child for 9 months. It's the mother that has the responsibility of feeding the baby, changing the baby, cleaning the baby in most homes. Sometimes it's shared depending on the feeding type that is chosen in the home. Sometimes the dad will try to get up in the middle of the night and fall asleep feeding the baby, and the mom will say, not again, because mama's protective of that child. That child that she bore. I'm telling you today, there's nothing like a mom. You can say, well, I had a bad mom, but you can still be grateful that God used her to bring you into this world. God used her as the incubator to provide you life. She may not have been perfect. Your mother may not have been perfect. But one thing your mother was the object that she used so that you could be here today. And you better be thanking God for it. No matter how much she gets under your skin, no matter how much she irritates you and annoys you, no matter how much she tells you what to do and how to do it and when to do it, Mom really has your best interest at heart. Because Mom loves you enough to annoy you. Mom loves you enough to be a pain sometimes. She loves you enough to be the protector. She loves you that much. Deuteronomy 21:18 and also 27:16 say that a son who brings dishonor and disgrace on his mother or father is to be cursed publicly. Why? Because in Proverbs 10 and verse 1 it says, a foolish son brings grief to his mother. You don't have to agree with your mother. You don't have to always like your mother. But I can tell you one thing you need to do is honor your mother. Honor your mother because your mother has given her best to you. Those of you that have lost a mom, you may can tell me some things that she did to you that still today could bring a little bit of bad memory into your life. But through the power of forgiveness, you forgive her. But if you think about it, you can still find something good about your mother. You see, your mother is the first woman in your life, and God placed her there in purpose. He knew what she needed and you needed in your life. You see, even Jesus heard his mother. Think about this. They're leaving town and they're traveling out of town, going back where they came from, and Jesus wasn't with the caravan. Where was he? He was in the temple teaching at 12 years old. He wasn't even considered a man yet. He didn't even tell her where he was going to be or what he was doing. They thought he was a part of the caravan and they leave. They had to turn around and go back and find him. As a mom, could you imagine what you would have said to your son? If he disappeared for 3 days, I wouldn't want to be that son. I can imagine how she felt, how Mary felt that day. Could you imagine how Mary felt that day? The one that you had invested in teaching and talking to and spending time with, and all the blood, sweat, and tears that you've poured into this life, and now you see he's only gone to 33 and a half years old and he's on a cross hanging. Could you imagine the pain that she felt in her life? That's my son. You see, moms, you're special. Because even then, he made it a point to make sure that she was taken care of. Could you imagine how she felt seeing him there? And yet, throughout the pain and the suffering of the cross, he realized something. That's my mama. Somebody take care of my mama. Somebody show some love on my mama. Could you imagine how that mama felt hearing those words come out of his mouth? That's mama. That's my mama. Oh, I know. It can be painful coming around on Mother's Day and Father's Days and things of that nature when you just don't have them no more to just hold and hug. Just another phone call, another talk, another word of wisdom to be shared. But I'm here to tell you today, Mom, you're special. Mom, you have meaning. Mom, I need you in my life. You see, it's one thing to have a mom that may not be the perfect mom, but what you can do is give her grace. Show her some mercy. She had a big, long job description raising you. She has a lot of responsibility raising you and trying to teach you the ways. We have to show that love. According to a recent poll, Mother's Day is second only to Christmas and Easter for church attendance. You see, most people that take their moms to church today, they're going to hear a pleasant sermon and have the pretty flowers, upbeat music, and perhaps a good, nice lunch afterwards. But I'm here today to, give you a few nice flowers and some nice gifts. We had great music. We had a good move of God, and we feel God's presence in this place. But Mom, you're special. You have value. You've been called into a role that Dad can't do. Dad can't do it. Oh yeah, you have single dads out there, no doubt, doing the best they can. But a dad can't be a mom, and a mom can't be a dad. You see, if you look through Scripture and you look at some examples of godly women and women that had a great impact on their life, I have 10 I will run through today. First of all, Lot's oldest daughter in Genesis 19. Think about this. If you just read the story, but you don't look at some critical things about that life, what are you going to think about Lot's oldest daughter? Those that know the story. Not very pleasant thoughts. You see, Sodom and Gomorrah had taken place and there was chaos everywhere, and she and her younger sister tricked their father with wine and seduced him so that they could get pregnant. You could stop at that story and talk about the disgust. You could talk about the just, every one of you could think just, how could you look at that woman? But let's don't be too judgmental for a moment. Her world was exploding, and she had just watched her mother turn into a pillar of salt. Her father had just volunteered her to be taken by a community of people and destroyed. But let's look at this. Real mothers seek, create, and sustain life in the face of death, destruction, and disappointment. It is not pleasant to think of the story. But here's the thing. In the midst of chaos, in the midst of trial, in the midst of problems, and though they may take things into their own hands, as this case, a woman, even though the world is turned upside down, still wants a child. Tamar, who married Judah's oldest son, God didn't like and struck him dead. According to the custom of the time, Tamar was given to Onan, Judah's second son, so that line might continue. You see, Tamar understood that it was not just Onan's offspring at stake, but it was hers as well. You find that she herself did something unimaginable because she wanted to have a son. She wanted to have a child, to bear a child. You think this burden and desire to be a mother is a minute thing. It's just a child. What's the big deal? God placed that in a woman. He created you for that. He gave you the ability. You find that Deborah, though she was riding out to battle and leading 10,000 troops, a judge, a prophet, a warrior, and a woman of prayer, she was wise and discerning, brave and beautiful, and she credited other women with help her win the battle. We don't know specifically if she actually gave birth, but in Judges 5 and 7 says she was a mother in Israel, which would let you think she was a mother and had a child. Real mother loved their people and forecast imminent danger. They take steps to fight it and serve on the front lines and ready to lay down their lives for her people. That speaks a lot about the mothers that I know, the mother in my life, and the mother that I married, the mother of our children. Hannah wasn't able to have kids. She was infertile. She was filled with grief. And all she wanted was a child. She prayed that God would give her a son, and she promised to return him to the temple after the time he was weaned and able to be raised in the house of God. You see, he grows up to be the last judge and military of Israel at a time when the nation is particularly violent, morally corrupt like his mother. He is faithful and just and committed to serving his God and his country. Real mothers are courageous and let their children step confidently into their future. But also, real mothers will put their children into the hand of God. God, I prayed for a child. How many of you prayed for a child? I know my wife did. And God gave us two. How could I ask God for something that I'm not willing to give back to Him? as a mother, we have to give them back to God. We got to release them back to God and allow God to work in their life. And sometimes that means we have to step back and let God do His thing so that they can fulfill the calling and ministry and direction that He wants in their life. The widow of Zarephath, while scavenging to make fire for her dying son, this starving woman encounters a stranger who asks for food. Although there's none to spare, she wants to give her son attention. She wants to make sure he has something to eat, and she's trying to make the last cake, but the stranger happened to be the prophet Elijah. She took care of him, took care of the prophet, and her bin never went dry. She was able to restore her son's health and take care of her, and her son had plenty to eat. You see, even in the midst of just desperate circumstances, real mothers will minister to her children. No matter the struggle, what's going on, they're still going to minister to their children. Job's wife. I'm going to take a moment on this one. Job's wife didn't have a whole lot to say when you read the story. Did you imagine how hard it was to be married to Job? He was tortured by the devil with God's full permission. He lost 10 children, his health, and his livelihood, but he never lost his faith. Through tremendous personal misfortune, he never criticized God, unlike his wife. And only 11 words are ever credited to her. And what was she doing? Why don't you just curse God and die, she says. A mom will speak from the emotion that she feels in her heart. You see, even in the midst of her struggle, watching her husband go through it, she's going through it. The pain, the suffering, the agony of life. Could you imagine 10 kids wiped out, your belongings burnt and stolen from you, and here you are suffering in the midst of all of these things, and you've got to make sure that you somehow survive this catastrophe, and you're frustrated. That's my babies, I lost my babies. You see, real mothers speak up and voice their pain, especially in times of tremendous grief. You can't replace them. They're gone. I've lost them all. You see, if you look through the book of Psalms, it's full of David expressing his grief, airing his grievances, and speaking from how he felt to God. Moms, it's okay. It's all right. God hears your voice when you're crying in the middle of the night because your children are frustrating you. They're aggravated. They won't listen. They won't be obedient. They won't follow the rules in place, and you feel like you're being mean and you're being hard, and you're trying to bring them back in line. And oh, I know, been there, done that, seen it. Your kids ain't no more perfect than mine, and mine nor yours. They have a way of making you get desperate, have turmoil, trouble. Cry out to God. Also, there's a story that is told of the mother of 7 sons. You ain't heard much about her. She's a totally unknown woman for the most part, but her faith and her witness spoke tremendously. She was forced to watch her sons tortured to death one by one because of her faith. All the while this is taking place, she's urging her son, all 7, don't quit, don't give up, hold on tight, keep the faith, It may be costing you your life, but it's worth it. You see, she watched all 7 of her sons die, tortured. But even then, after that, she herself was killed. But what was so great in the end, she went out praising God, thanking God in the midst of all of that. You see, a mother will raise their sons and daughters to be faithful. Remain true to your values and your teachings in the Word of God regardless. The Syrophoenician woman, her daughter was demon-possessed. She had one thing in mind: I need to make sure that my daughter is delivered. She went all the way to Jesus and unleashed herself, her deepest desires at the feet of Jesus. And when seemingly rejected, though, she didn't quit and stopped. You see, a mother won't give up. She won't quit on her kids. She's going to pray. Salome was the mother of James and John, and though the story, the Bible talks about her in Matthew and Mark, you see, as such, Salome was witnessing to Jesus' entire life and accompanied him on the road and stood by the cross and went to his tomb. She requested that her son sit at the right and left hand when he reached paradise. People look at that and try to cast a shadow on her, and because she wanted her sons to be closest to Jesus. You see, a mother will stand up for her kids, and she'll stand by her kids for her family, and she'll want the best for each one of her children. That's what a mother does. But let's look at Mary once again. You see, a mother has invested her life into her children. Us, as the children, sometimes take it for granted. We abuse the mother, sometimes through verbal, sometimes through just not listening, ignoring, being disobedient, not following the words of wisdom that she gives us. I'm guilty. Not going to lie. I'm guilty. But you see, there was something special that Mary had coming in her future. If you read in the book of Acts and you read the story and you look at the upper room, you realize something took place in Mary. She is a part of the group in the upper room. She is a part of that. And though she is Mary, the mother of Jesus, you see, many could have refused the request from Gabriel to have, or Mary could have, said, I don't want to be the mother of Jesus. I don't want this. I could have, she could have fought it, but she accepted it, the role that she was going to play. You see, when she was in the upper room, even though she was there with the others, God had a plan for her life still. Through all the times of her life that she had suffered and sacrificed, been out personal feelings, personal time when she could have done things for herself, she was given to her kids. But ultimately, he was preparing to give back to her. You see, he came to not only save us, but to save his mother. You see, she needed salvation just like we. Just because she was his mother didn't give her a shortcut, didn't give her a bypass. Because she was his mother, she still needed forgiveness. She needed the cross. Because she was his mother, she needed the Acts experience. in the upper room, he had talked about the Comforter was going to come. He said, it's going to come in my name. Jesus' mother, you see, he came to save her. He came to rescue her. He came to be there for her because he knew she needed the blood applied to her life. Jesus did that for his mother. As we stand today, if we look today, and if your mother is still with us, and you still have opportunity, follow Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12. Honor thy father